Life is a mirror that is constantly reflecting you, your mind, your beliefs, your feelings, your thoughts, your habits, the choices that you make. And I've noticed some interesting things about this mysterious mirror of life. Firstly, that it's not always an instantaneous reflection. Maybe you've noticed this, that sometimes there seems to be some degree of delay in that mirroring of a shift in your state of being, in a transformation, in a belief, in a positive reframing of a circumstance. And other times, it's not immediate. There seems to be this almost like a seeming test, or it's as if it's training us to see how much resolve we have, to see how much trust we have, to see how much fortitude, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, that we have in whatever it is that we think we have learned or transcended or grown into. And I can see this is for good reason. That resilience that is built, that is cultivated in that sort of challenge of not always having the instant gratification of a transformation or in a shift. And other times it is immediate, it is instantaneous. I'm sure that you've also experienced this. So the one thing that I've come to appreciate about this mirror of life is to not give significance to appearances, to not take cues from my circumstance, to be more receptive and aware of my state of being, and that subtle guidance, the intuition, the knowingness, that is a more reliable sense to depend on in a way. And this also just comes with self-trust. The more you experience those transformations, those shifts, those moments of surrender, realization, clarity, insight, the more you cultivate that sense of knowing, sense of self-trust, sense of conviction and faith that everything is going in the right direction, that it is working out in your favor, that despite the way that the world looks or the way your reality appears, despite how your experience feels, that everything is working to your benefit, that it is heading in the right direction. And sometimes I have to remind myself of this. Maybe you do too. Sometimes it gets very murky, muddy. Sometimes the veil becomes so thick, it's as if I'm looking through a tunnel. And all that I've come to understand and know through my direct experience becomes almost disconnected or dislocated, and everything is in question. Everything is being doubted. And I think that also serves a good purpose, to stay humble, to remain open, receptive. I'm curious if you've experienced anything similar to this, and if you have and you want to share it, put it in the comments. I'd love to hear more stories and experiences, some processes that you guys go through. There's a couple more things that I've noticed about this mysterious mirror, and it is around the power of the imagination. And if you're familiar with Neville Goddard and the wish fulfilled, it is a very powerful practice or technique of shifting your state of being and even stepping into or shifting your reality, manifesting a desire. And it is a very subtle technique which requires a high degree of self-knowledge, in the sense that it always begins in the silence, as Neville says. Enter the silence. And what I take that to mean is the eternal, timeless, and infinite I am that you most essentially are. And so that is sort of a process or a practice of letting go of everything that you perceive and think and feel, and coming into that space within you which is infinite. And only from that void can we tap into possibilities, potentialities, realities. And it's very powerful to visualize what you desire, whether that be an experience, whether that be a tangible manifestation, whether that be a relationship, whether that be some kind of result or achievement. It doesn't matter what it is. If you can, from that space of no self, no time, no space, bring up a vivid, bright feeling, an experience so real that you cannot distinguish the real world out here and the inner imagination which is creating this experience. That unlocks an instant shift, a path of least resistance towards that manifestation or reality being present here and now. But I've also experienced this to be a useful technique or tool even when you don't know what it is that you want, if you're not clear on what you desire, because this wish fulfilled technique can also be used for clarity, to become clear on your desire or your vision. And here's how I've implemented that. Rather than focusing on something tangible, like something that you want or someone that you want to be with or some experience that you want to create, you can actually come into that silence and intend to be inspired. You can set the intention to be clear and receive an insight or inspiration or a vision. And the way that I've done this is by simply bringing up the feeling, the sensations of what it feels like to be inspired. If you can bring yourself into the experience with just your imagination of what it feels like to have an insight, to be inspired, to be awestruck with a vision, to be so full of joy and love and gratitude for having remembered the direction, the calling, the desire, even for just the clarity of who you are. Everything is possible. with this sort of practice. And you are just feeling into it. Neville Goddard and even Abraham Hicks often talks about feeling your way there. You don't want to use the mind. You don't want to be thinking. Thinking creates separation, and that's not a powerful state to create from. You are separating yourself from that reality. You are observing yourself seeing and experiencing that reality, but it's not immersing yourself in it. It's not becoming it. And that's why feeling is so key. And that's why gratitude is so powerful, because it assumes the state of being that is in accordance or alignment with having already received, already become aware of, already aligned with, already shifted into the reality where that is the case. And that's what you want to feel into. That's what you want to create. You want to assume so vividly that it is already here. And all the sensations and feelings that come along with what that means. So this is sort of just my ramblings on contemplating this mysterious mirror of life and how we can navigate it with playfulness and joy and love and openness and receptivity to how we are limiting ourselves, how we are expanding ourselves, and to invite in more of who we truly are. So I hope it's helpful. And if you have any other ideas or things that have worked for you, I would love to hear more about them in the comments. Love you guys.